You know, I was thinking about this subject of extraterrestrials and, you know, whether they may or may not exist, and would the governments of the world suppress it if they knew about it. And I think I've figured out why the governments would or are suppressing it if indeed alien visitors have been coming here and visiting us. I'm going to say straight from the off, statistically, mathematically, it's ridiculous when you look at the size of the universe to suggest that there probably aren't life forms somewhere, at least out there, such as, you know, the extremophiles, tardigrades and something. So if you can imagine tardigrades on other planets in extreme conditions, you have to then be able to imagine other things that can breathe air that we would consider poisonous, for example, on even some of those planets that we think aren't habitable by living creatures, and so on. Here's why I think the governments, and I think I've figured this out, I think I've finally realised it, I would be suppressing this from us. Let's just say, just as a make things simple and as a point of example, that Roswell was the breaking point, that was the first contact with humanity. So, you know, the Roswell thing happens, humanity recovers an aliens, and they meet them for the first time and they start talking. Open dialogue, secretly, in some secret base somewhere. If humankind immediately fully disclose that to the public and say, yes, this is the situation, yes, they exist, here's what's going to happen. Obviously, the public will behave in a frightened, freaky manner, and there'll be, you know, extreme behaviours, but that won't be the reason. The reason, I think, above it all, because, you know, people would get used to it eventually, the reason would be that the aliens themselves would have immediate access to the people, because the people wouldn't take no for an answer. They'd say, we want access to the aliens now, alright, give us aliens, you know, let us talk to them, let us see footage. It would actually encourage the aliens to be amongst us, and there may be small ways for them to affect upon us. If they were in some way hostile, okay, they might be able to influence us in some way. The more access they have to us as a people, the more they could easily monkey with us without our governments realising that they're doing it. Now, our intelligence services, which are here to protect us, that's what we pay our taxes for, would have to be running to keep up alongside this, you know, and just adapting and moving to what the aliens do in this situation. You know, even in transmissions to us, they could implant something in there. Who knows the way that they would be able to have subtle effects on us, if indeed they wished us harm. So I think the governments of the world play it very, very careful and not want to have to play the running game, and instead keep a lid on it for our sakes, so that they could fully analyse what these visitors are really about and find out what their terms are, meet their ambassadors, even send our people to their homeworlds for, you know, cross-ambassadorial roles. And of course, if it was a species that had come to Earth and wished to invade us or wished us harm, us suppressing it, well, that would quite annoy them, and they'd get impatient and sort of do something about it, and then we'd know straight away and they wouldn't be able to hide about it. The longer they wait, the more it sort of shows that they are actually what they'd say they are, and actually, you know, don't mean us any harm at all. Now, before you all start thumbs downing me for it makes it sound like I'm speaking for the government and that sort of thing, and there is a but coming up, a very big one, and that is, if you pardon the expression, that our prime ministers and presidents of the world, they should be coming forward and at least telling us that this would be the case. And in a situation, were it to be the case, this would be the reason why. And then people could be saying, oh, are you trying to tell us that this is the case? And they'd be saying, no. There's a whole lot of conspiracy things going around, and I'm addressing some of that with a bit of common sense. This is actually why we, as an established government, act and behave. These would be our protocols in this case. I'm telling you the protocols, and it will help you see why a government would actually suppress it for the benefit of you, if that were to happen. That's then neither confirming nor denying. And you see, that's the bit that annoys me, because why don't the government just do something like that if that was it? That would at least put all of our minds at rest, wouldn't it? So anyway, I think I've cracked it. I think I've figured it out. What do you think? Comment below.